All right, we miss Avery in the house.
Hello.
What's up, y'all? This is a very weird situation because this is the new setup for the podcast, and you're the first guest on it, and I've never been on this side. It's because Avery has like a side, so what is that for like modeling or just in general? Do people have like a better side of their face?
Oh, 100%.
No, really?
You can literally look at a photo of someone, like each side of their face, and they'll look completely different, in my opinion. I mean, maybe like if you have a really symmetrical face, maybe not. But me personally,
Do
I
most
feel
people
like,
not have most symmetrical faces?
no, not at all. I feel like that's what makes people's faces look really unique is the fact that they're not symmetrical. But everyone has like, I've heard that everyone has like a feminine and a masculine side of their face.
That sounds bullshit.
No, I swear to God, look it up.
Really?
I swear I've heard that.
Is that like mostly in modeling? Do people like always choose like a specific side like for every shoot or like just like in general or what? What's the deal with that?
The thing is that I always gravitate towards this side because I know naturally like when I pose like I will move that way. But when you're on set, sometimes they put you in certain positions that you can't necessarily get to
so
that side.
what happens when you're like on your not good side? Like how do you make that side look good?
I mean, I just keep posing like I know how to pose, but
Yeah.
the thing is that you see your bad side in a different way than everyone else sees your bad side.
Okay.
So in my head, it's my bad side, but they'll be like, oh, it looks so good.
Okay.
But it's a mental thing that it's like, oh, I hate the way that this looks.
Yeah,
So you kind of have to get past that, like, this looks bad to me.
That like insecurity type
Yeah,
of thing, right?
yeah.
Like so like why do you think it's like a worse side?
Well, one, I have my nose ring on this side.
Okay.
So I naturally like having this side out.
Okay.
But I put my nose ring there because I feel like, what is it? I think it's like one side of my mouth. Okay, this is getting really technical. One side of my mouth, like I think my lip is smaller on one side of my mouth than the other side. And then my nose, I have a really tiny nose and my nose tilts one way.
Okay. I don't pay attention to that. So
No, see, it's little things that you overanalyze your face and that
Yeah.
you'll see more than anyone
because
else.
I feel like I like one side better too, but I thought it was just in my head.
No, it's not
Like,
in your head.
Yeah.
Have you ever like do like one side profile more than the other?
I don't think so. I think it's like a body thing for me too. I know my left pec is bigger than my right pec, so I'm just
Okay.
like I think my left side is just stronger. I was like I want to look more jacked on this side. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe that's something that like men overanalyze more than women. Like we were overanalyze like our face,
Your face.
and then you're sitting there like,
Yeah. Do you know any of the jewelry stuff in terms of like is it like right side of your nose, right ear means you're like straight or like left side of your ear?
I've heard that. I've heard that like a
Means you're
nose ring, like
gay?
one side means something, but yeah, not sure. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm giving off mixed signals to
Yeah, I
people
don't
because
know.
of my nose ring, but
What's your last name?
Frith.
Frith?
Yeah, but I don't go by that.
What? So your Instagram's Averi
Camille.
Camille.
Yeah.
Is Camille your middle name?
Yeah.
Oh my god. So a lot of people. So my girlfriend hates her last name too.
Really?
Yeah, her last name's Lubers.
Whoa.
And so she goes by Faith, like as her last name. Because her
Okay.
Faith is her middle name.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, nah, like I go by Faith. Like it's
Okay.
Kiana Faith.
Honestly, the reason I go by Camille is because I feel like okay, this is funny.
Sorry, what's your last name again? One more time.
Frith.
Frith. Okay.
Frith.
And Camille is your.
So my first name's Avery, so it's like short, and then I also have a short last name. So my
Yeah.
face, what is that noise?
I don't know. I
So-
think that was your phone.
Is it? Sorry. Interrupting the podcast. I'm just so popular. Okay. So
All right, continue.
So my first name's short and then my last name's short. So when you like write it out, I
Yeah.
feel like it's just too short, like all together.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I get famous one day, like my name is just way too short combined.
Yeah.
And then my parents call me like Averi Camille. Like my mom would be like Averi Camille. So I feel like that just sounded like cooler to me. So I went with that. And
Yeah.
also I don't want people to look up my name on Facebook.
See all your Facebook high school like photos.
Exactly. Like I can't. Like
Wow,
I
that's
put Avery
accurate.
Camille on everything, so that way people don't look up my Facebook after this. 'Cause there's a lot of really embarrassing shit on there. So we went to.
That's
But yeah.
real. Is your first name actually Avery? Like,
Yeah.
I've never seen Avery spelled that way.
Yeah.
With an I at the end.
Everyone thinks it's so unique.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I like short names too because like you memorize them quicker. So that's why like, so my name was born like it was Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Then in like most of my life it was Nathan, and then
really?
yeah, and then I just started going by Nate because I was like, I want people to remember me quickly because, and then also I was really good at memorizing names because I feel like, especially in LA and stuff, it's very important to remember people's names.
Yeah, 100%.
Because like if you meet them at a restaurant or a bar, you see them and you know their name right away. Like the most important thing to someone is their name. So I'm like, come up like, hey Avery, how you doing? Remember you? Blah, blah. They're like, I don't know this fucking person, but like, hey man, what's up? How's it going?
People really appreciate that, and then they remember you after you remember their name.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was just in my head. I was like, okay, what's the best way for me to have people remember my name, and then I'll remember like tricks to memorize other people's names. Like there's this guy named Jim Quick, that's his name, and he has this company called I think like Quick Learning with a K.
Okay.
And so like some people will say they're bad with names.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think you're good with names or bad with names?
I think I'm kind of good with names.
Okay. So
but I'm better at remembering little things about someone
like
than their
faces,
name.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if I told you like I will give you $1 million if you remember this guy's name, you already memorized it. You're good.
100%.
Like you have it set. Like so, like you have to figure out how to trigger your brain to just like little tricks and stuff like that. Like I'll rhyme words, or like if I see some dude with like if he's wearing like a red tie, I'll just go like red tie Jim. Or like
I love that though. No, but honestly, I feel like in a city like LA, you see so many people and everyone knows that you see so many people.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, oh, I'm just another person to this person. So if you go out of your way to actually remember who they are, like they feel important, and like everyone wants to feel important. So they appreciate that.
It's kind of crazy too in like a city like LA where not everyone, but there's a lot of people out here who don't really care about other people. They're just like, I'm gonna get my bag, I'm gonna chase my dream and do this, when in reality it should be like the opposite. Like you're trying to give yourself to other people. What can you do to help others out, and then in return like reciprocity like is one of the biggest things in the world. Like if you give, like you shall receive type of deal.
100%.
You know. So where are you from again?
Louisiana.
That's the twang, guys. That's the twang you hear.
Yeah, sorry.
Nice serenading your eardrums, you know?
I literally was thinking about this. I'm like, wait, can I say a bad word?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I was literally like, my country ass, but I'll be on this mic. Like, I was so, I was like, Nate, I cannot. But I feel like definitely being from Louisiana, like, Louisiana is a very specific type of country sound. Like, I don't feel like I sound like what someone would think someone from the country sounds like. But I'm like from deep country. Yeah. But my family luckily does not have super thick Cajun accents.
What's Cajun accent? Like the accent you have?
God, no. Like I mean, honestly.
Can you give me an example?
I lived in LA since I was 18, so almost 4 years. And right when I moved here, people would be like, "Where the hell are you from?" And so I feel like naturally you trick your brain into switching the way that you pronounce certain things. If I go home or talk to my family, it comes out a lot more. Yeah. But just like
give us an example. I want to hear
okay,
something.
So like have y'all ever watched like have you ever watched what's it called? Swamp People?
I've watched like a couple episodes back in the day.
Yeah, you know how like everything like okay, so like Mississippi, Alabama, all these states, right? It's like twang. It's like, hey y'all, you know, like that. Well, like Louisiana is like the end of the words are like flat. Like they don't fully pronunciate things. It's basically like they're uneducated in a way. Like it's like that's what it sounds like a lot of times when people describe like Cajun accents. I can't, like that's so embarrassing. Like
one time for the one time.
I can't even think of one word to like that would be not so like detrimental to every person watching this. Like oh yeah, shy.
Oh, I have no clue what
if you've watched like okay, so shy means like cute, like it's like oh cute, so like we say like shy. That's like something that we say. Okay. Yeah, so if you ever watched like Princess and the Frog, like that way that they talk, that's like Cajun Southern accent. Okay. Yeah, it's sad.
So it's different than like a y'all from Texas, like howdy y'all. Like it's like there's like less less finishing of the word and more like twang?
It's like it's not a twang. So North Louisiana has a twang. They sound like country. Southern Louisiana is when it gets into like Cajun. So Louisiana has a lot of French culture. Okay. So like my great grandfather that passed away last year, he spoke only Cajun French. So he did not even speak English. So this is like
that French with a Cajun twang?
It's like basically a mix of like so it's like when the French went to Louisiana, they obviously all spoke French, and then they mixed it with like native languages and English and all these things, and so it's kind of like French but like a Louisiana version of French, so a couple things are different. So like you have to think like my grandparents, they spoke French and English, so it's kind of like a mix of both. So that's why everyone kind of has like a weird ass sound, honestly. It's like real. So I've heard a lot of people like they go visit places and they're like, are you guys from Europe? And they're like, no, we're from Louisiana, because the accent is so weird.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Have you ever experienced a Mardi Gras?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I heard it's wild. Can you tell me about it? Like, have you ever got, so you're a little bit younger than me. Like, were you able to like go out to bars and stuff and get like Liddy McTitties?
So I grew up in a small town outside of Lafayette. So it's like 15,000 people, I think. And then my mom's town is like 5,000 people. So that's where I grew up. So it's like 2 hours away from New Orleans, and I grew up going to New Orleans a lot, like visit my cousins and stuff. But growing up in Louisiana, like your parents like will hate New Orleans because it's like we're from really small towns, and so they're like, ew, big cities, you know?
Yeah.
So they don't like going to places like New Orleans. So Mardi Gras is not only in New Orleans, it's like all over the state of Louisiana. So every town basically has like a Mardi Gras day that they have like their parade.
Yeah.
So for sure, like it's nuts. Like 13-year-olds wasted on the streets. Like it's crazy. But it's not like, oh my God, yeah.
Were you one of those 13-year-olds?
Honestly, I did not start drinking until my senior year.
Oh, wow.
I was like very like, I don't know, I just was a good kid. But I did my senior year get like really wasted. It's like called Church Point Mardi Gras. And I still have, Church Point is like a town, and like I have PTSD still. But the Mardi Gras is definitely crazy. Like people in Louisiana look forward to it like all year.
So what is it again? Like what's it celebrating? Like
it's Fat Tuesday. So basically it's like the day before the Catholic season of Lent. Okay. So basically Lent is like a 40-day season of like fasting.
Like, I grew up Catholic.
Yeah. So Fat Tuesday is like the day before where everyone like basically lives and like drinks and eats and parties, and then they go.
Mardi Gras has to do with the Catholic religion.
Yeah, it's called Fat Tuesday, and then Ash Wednesday is the next day.
But Mardi Gras has to do with that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought you just like put on beads and shit.
I know that's what I know it of. I mean, they probably have another reason of how they connect it and like where all of the like stuff comes from, like the traditions and stuff. But growing up, like I went to Catholic school, and like that's what we were always like taught.
No way, I went to Catholic school too.
Yeah, how are you okay?
Okay. Yo, okay, so are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay actually. I actually made it out. I'm good.
I'm all right. I really enjoyed it at the time, but then I kind of stepped away from it a little bit when I found out, I think, did you go all the way up to where you were like confirmed?
Yes.
Okay. So I found out the church where I got confirmed at, and I went to like Sunday school, all this stuff. The pastor that I really looked up to, like was doing sexual stuff to like little boys. Okay. And it was like all over the news, and I think I was like 18 or 19 at the time. This is like after I like moved, like I was like older, and I was like, wow, like this person who I looked up to and like got all this advice from, like was doing some naughty shit. Yeah. And I was like, I don't like that. Yeah. You know? It's crazy. Yeah, I made it out okay. I wasn't one of those little boys that I know of. Yeah,
that I know of. That's actually crazy. The Catholic school, so I went to Catholic school literally pre-K to when I graduated high school. Yeah. The elementary school that I went to, my mom made me be like an altar server and everything. It was tragic.
Oh, you're an altar server?
Yeah,
you're one of those?
Hell yeah. So he actually, when I was in high school,
Who's he?
The priest that was when I was altar server, when I was like in second grade. It came out when I was in high school that he got arrested, and for the same thing, for child pornography on his computer.
I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
'cause
but
it's
you know, I
common.
do. Honestly,
It's very common.
what it is that, you know, people who are like pedophiles, that's like something that's like an illness within them that they have like their whole life. And so you have to think like, okay, if you grow up and you're in like a Catholic family and you're like, I'm having these impure thoughts, like I don't know what to do about it, then you think, okay, like I'll give my life to the most holy thing that I could possibly give my life to, and that will go away. But like that's like actually like a mental sickness, like being a pedophile. So like even giving your life to what you think is like the holiest commitment ever, that's not gonna cure your mental illness of
I get
pedophilia.
that. I
so
really
they
do
can't
get that.
fight it. Like it's just,
I get that, but why is it like it's like not like a handful? It's like thousands.
yeah, it's
in the
because
world.
they go into that lifestyle hoping that it will stop, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's really crazy. But I feel like luckily, religion, there's so many things that people get like really wounded for the rest of their life that they never have any sort of faith ever after that.
Like
because
what?
just things like that, like experiences like with, it's basically like bad experiences with it, people in church that affect like the way that they believe in God after that. So I feel like a lot of people, the way I look at it is I completely separate like people from God.
Okay.
Because
It's
we're all
like people are
humans.
flawed.
Yeah, we're all humans and we all make mistakes and we are flawed. So I can't let like the way that someone lived their life and claiming God define the way I see God.
That's a good outlook on life.
Yeah, so I try to like separate it because I feel like there's so many people in the world who act as if they're like standing with God or with a religion and they're clearly not walking in any type of like love or like a divine life. So it's like,
I always say like my whole philosophy on just like God and religion now is like I live my life as if God exists, meaning just like be a good person, be kind to people, because there's a lot of people who are religious who are assholes.
or not God. Exactly. Like you're missing like the whole point of what you're supposed to be doing.
You know?
Yeah.
And like I'm just like that's kind of triggering sometimes. I'm like you're taught all these things and then you don't follow them at all.
Exactly.
So
it's very interesting.
So when did you move out to LA?
2 months after my 18th birthday.
No way.
Fuck yeah.
What was your what was the goal? Was it to come out here for modeling?
No, so basically I was never exposed to like plus size modeling, curve modeling. Like I did not even know that that was like an outlet, like in any way.
How old do you know?
I'm going to be 22 next week.
Okay, so you've been out here for like 3.5 years.
Going to be 4 in September. Yeah, it's crazy. So I moved out here. I started doing makeup when I was like 13. So I started doing like weddings, homecomings, proms.
Literally, like doing them for people.
Swear to God. Literally my mom would drop me off at like this house and I'd just show up with my little suitcase. And they'd be like, hey, and I'm like, hi, I'm here to do your makeup. And I'm like literally a child. Like I was so young doing makeup, but I was like really, really good.
All right,
and
pause.
What?
So how did you get into like doing other people's makeup? Like, cause like that's wild. Like
basically I started practicing in my room. And for me at that time, it was an outlet of like
creativity.
Outlet of creativity, but also I was just like really hated who I was, and so like for me like doing makeup was a cool way to like cover up in a way but also express myself. And I started doing it and my stepmom was like, what the heck, why are you so good at this? Like, because I never had to practice, I just kind of was good at it. So then she started posting it on Facebook. People started asking like,
your stepmom did?
Yeah.
Oh.
So she's like, do you do this for money? And everyone in my town was like, what the heck? Like, can you do my makeup for this? Can you do my makeup for that?
Wow.
So at like 14, I was doing like full 7 people in one day wedding parties, like $700 a day, like going in, and like that's how I saved up like 14 grand to like move to LA just from like doing makeup and working at my dad's restaurant from when I was 15 until like I moved here.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was a little hustler.
You were.
Yeah. Even on like my own when I was in high school, when I went to homecoming, prom, like I would wake up at 6 and I'd start doing people's makeup, and then I would have like 45 minutes to get dressed for my own dance and then go to the dance.
That's so impressive.
I know. Honestly, when I look back, I'm like, damn, you did that. Like, actually, it's really crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did that like all through high school. I was really good at it, and I was like, I want to be a makeup artist. Like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. There's this other girl who I had on the podcast. Her name's Christina. She does full-time makeup out here.
Oh, cool.
And she has like a similar story to that, but she actually went to like makeup school and everything. You didn't?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I moved here for makeup school.
Oh.
So that's like that's what made me come here. But literally since I was 13, I've been telling my parents, like, I'm going to LA. I'm going to LA.
Why LA? Why LA?
I don't know. There was just always something about it that I was like, I feel like I would see pictures and I would just feel like, you know, you hear things about like movie stars, Hollywood, all these things. And I was just like, when I started doing makeup, for me, it was like, oh, that's a reason for me to be there. Like, I could be connected to all of those things. And it just was something that it was always like, I wanted to live in a big city. I never saw big cities growing up. And something about California, I was always just like, it seems like the place, you know? So since
little do you know, you walk down Hollywood and it's not
but I feel like, okay, so it was always LA for me. I was always like, I'm going. My parents, we come from a town where no one leaves. People do not move away. Similar. So my mom tells me all the time, she's like, every year I'm like, you say this and I'm like, she's gonna change her mind, and then senior year came around and I was like, guys, like, okay, when I'm graduate, like, we need to like plan to like go apartment shop, like all these things.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, you're like serious, like you're actually. And so for me personally, I went to makeup school. I don't regret anything in my life because I think that that's not a good thing to do. Yeah. But I went to makeup school because you don't need to go to makeup school to be a makeup artist.
Sure.
But for me personally, where I came from, it was easier pill for my parents to swallow for me to move to LA going to school than for me to just move to LA at 18 and have nothing going on. So
you had to have like a plan.
Exactly. Okay. So for me, my plan was, I'm going to makeup school. Like, it's like college, you know, like I'm going to school, like it's, you know. Yeah. And honestly, I got to makeup school and I really I was so young. Like, I didn't really do much research. So
you're still 18. You're still 18.
Yeah. I turned 18 in July and I signed my lease on my apartment like the end of August. And so when I went to the makeup school, it was like $30,000 for this makeup school.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it's the best makeup school in LA, but they focus a lot on silicone prosthetics. We did like a lot. We did foam prosthetics, silicone prosthetics, character makeup. We did sculpting. We did like Photoshop.
I think out of all of those, all I know is sculpting.
Yeah, so we literally...
You did Photoshop for what?
It was like basically like in case you get hired for a job on a set and you have to create this character, like if you're in charge of the character design, like let's say
was that deep?
Yeah, it was like deep. Like, and this was like a lot of people who had like serious like obsession with like horror films. Like a lot of people would go there because they wanted to like work on horror movies or work on create monsters and all these things. Yeah. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, can I do a smoky eye please? Like, I was just like not. Immediately when I got there, I realized that like I did not want to be on a film aspect in any way, shape, or form. I was more interested in like fashion and like
beauty. And
I was always like drawn to that side. So for me it was a little bit difficult because I was like, I'm here, like what do I do? And I eventually had a breakdown because the first half was more beauty driven. We did like high fashion, all these things. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. And then when we got into like all the lab classes, we were like literally covered in dust every day, like building molds, like doing all these things.
What was like a daily day in like makeup school? Like walk me through that process real quick.
So we literally went to school Monday through Friday
so it was like legit.
Yeah, like it was full-time shit. Okay, so you get there at 8:30. If I was in like a beauty class, usually what we do is like the first half of the day, you go in, you listen to a basically presentation by the teacher of that day. So let's say we're talking about editorial makeup. So she would do like a little presentation about the history of editorial makeup and all of these things. Yeah. And then she would do a demo on a model for us and show us basically an example of editorial makeup. Okay. We go to lunch, we come back, you pair up with someone in your class. The first half, they do your makeup and an editorial makeup.
So you guys do it on each other?
Yes, that's the worst part of makeup school. Because they had like literally like people who'd never done makeup before, and you're sitting there, your eyes getting poked out. Like, it was not a fun
I bet you were pissed.
Oh, I was pissed. I was so
because
pissed.
Like, you're pretty good. You've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And like this person who doesn't know like much is like drawn on your face. And you're like, ow, ow, ow.
And we had like no offense, men can be really good at makeup, but we had like guys in my class that like only went there so they could learn how to like make molds and do all these like lab type things that were like trying to like put eyeshadow on me, and I'm like, sir, like you're literally hurting me right now.
So did you end up finishing makeup school?
I did. So
you did?
I went.
So was it 1 year?
Almost 1 year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was almost a year.
1 year for $30K. So that's legit just as expensive as like most colleges. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be paying it off for a very long time. Because so basically it's like a private school, so you can't file for student loans. So I got
a legit loan.
Yeah, I have like a personal loan under my name, which it helps me build my credit every month, but like it has such a high interest rate, like I'm paying so much a month, like $500 a month.
Honestly, that might be better than student loans, because student loans you can't actually, I don't know.
So the thing is for mine is that like when my loan hit a year, I had to start paying it off.
Yeah, you have to.
So like I had no choice. Like I was
your
like
interest on it?
9% or something. No, it's so high. It's like so high.
All right, you wanna hack that I could help you with?
Tell me.
So I've been like studying like finance for a very long time. And do you know what like credit card churning is?
No.
All right.
I don't have a credit card.
You definitely need to get a credit card.
I know. I'm like gonna be 22 next week, and I'm like, I need a credit card.
Yeah. So basically, what's your credit score, if you don't mind me asking?
Like 675.
Okay, so you're gonna work your way up to getting a credit score of like around 750.
Yeah.
Or if you can, start applying for credit cards. Try to get like 3. 3 that have a 0% APR within the first year. Right. You pay all your student loan off with these credit cards.
Okay.
Right. And for the first year, you don't need to pay any interest on it. So you grind for 1 year, and you pay off these credit cards, right? And then the next time, like when your year's about to come up, apply for another credit card, move all of the money into another credit card for another year. So you pay 0% interest every single time.
Oh my God. Wow. Send me this spreadsheet.
Versus paying $500 a month.
That's crazy.
You know? So like it can be done. There's ways to like, because that's ridiculous.
I know, it is really ridiculous.
You know? So it's hard to do. Obviously, you have to build up your credit score, all these things. But
I know I have like the only reason I have a credit score is from paying off my loan on myself, like
which is good
every month. So I've been able to build it up. But like if you look on my credit like app thing or whatever, it just like shows that I have really young credit. Like I don't have basically any credit.
Yeah. First step is get a credit card. Yeah. Build up your credit through that, and then once you have like around 750, girl, like apply for 3 credit cards that have like 15K or 10K each in the limit. Pay it, swipe that thing, and then literally you save $500 a month. But you also have to be smart about it.
Yeah, of course.
Because
you don't
want to go to the moon with that credit card, because you have 1 year that you don't pay any interest on. So everything you could just swipe away. Swipe away every month. That thing builds up, and like you don't need to pay any interest on it for a year.
So, interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, send me that spreadsheet when we do this. But yeah, I finished makeup school. I did. Okay. I graduated.
So let's rewind real quick. So you said that when you started to do makeup, you weren't really like happy with your life, and you were trying to like cover up. Like, why was that?
It's actually very weird how things like connect. Like now, me doing like body positive modeling and that type of thing, because literally growing up, I was like the most like insecure person you've ever met in your life. Literally, you can ask people from back home. My hair is in front of my face right now, but I used to have really long hair, and like I would literally walk around with my hair like never behind my shoulders. Like I was very just like in a shell. Like I was very friendly and like popular and stuff, but it was very clear to everyone that I just like hated everything about myself.
How was it clear to everyone that you weren't like positive about yourself? Because like usually popular people like attract like people who are very outgoing, are very confident, like
for me it was very obvious in the sense of like the way that I dress. Like I wouldn't wear like shorts in the summer. Like I just was very in my shell. Like I didn't want to take photos. I was very just like in a shell. And I feel like it's so interesting now being a part of an industry that is like trying to make a change, because when you grow up, like I grew up in a group of friends where all my friends were cheerleaders and dance team and like all these things. And I was like always the one that was on the outskirts of that, where I didn't feel seen by anyone.
Yeah.
And it's crazy what representation can like do for someone's mind. And that's why growing up, and you know, I grew up when social media was starting. Like I got an Instagram when I was in like 5th grade, you know, so the impression that makes on like a young brain, like seeing all of these beauty standards like pushed out to the public on platforms, and you're like, but I don't look like that. And I mean, I feel like definitely I struggled with like depression, like disordered eating, and like a lot of things like that. And you see things online and you can't figure out why you're looking at this picture of this person and they're saying this is like the perfect person, this is beauty, this is what this is. And then you look at your reflection in the mirror and you like, those things don't line up.
Sure.
So I also like was just always the person in my friend group, like I said, that was on the outskirts, where I always felt like I looked different than them. And so that caused me to just be really, really insecure. And I basically all through high school was the same way. I didn't really like taking photos. I was very just like in my shell. When I got into like sophomore year, I started doing CrossFit.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I did CrossFit all through high school.
No way.
So my stepmom is a CrossFit coach. Well, she just recently stopped, but she was a CrossFit coach.
So you got pretty good form. You know how to do a good snatch or a
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay.
Let's take a CrossFit class sometime.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably throw up, but okay. So when I was a sophomore, my stepmom was like, "Oh, join this like boot camp," you know. So for me, I always looked at weight and like beauty being one and the same. Okay. So like I always was taught growing up through like
that if you're skinny, you're beautiful.
Yeah. I always like through comments and like things that people who I really loved and looked up to said to me, it like transformed the way that I looked at like weight and like how I put weight and beauty in the same category, which obviously is like really unhealthy. Like I grew up and like I was introduced to dieting really early on in my life, which was very detrimental to the way that I look at food.
What is your definition of dieting?
Like programs like Weight Watchers, like things like that. I was introduced to that very early, which was very detrimental to the way that I looked at food from then on. Yeah. And so when I was a sophomore, I started doing CrossFit and I started doing boot camp, and honestly became like it was like not healthy for me, like how obsessed that I became with it.
Did you like it?
I did like it, but I was doing it not for the right reason.
What were you doing it for?
I was doing it because I looked at it as like, if I'm skinny, I'll equal this, you know? So I was doing CrossFit sometimes twice a day. Like, and I wasn't, like it was getting to that level.
It was like over what you should be doing.
Yeah. And like, it was to the point where like I was hurting my body, like my knees and like all of these things. And, I went to counseling when I was like 13, and I'll never forget this. So my stepmom, she's like beautiful, like kind of like the ideal body shape of like that women like look up to. So for me, my whole life, I felt like a little bit of pressure to like want to look like her. And I love her to death. She's like one of my best friends.
Yeah, sounds like you look up to her.
Yeah. And when I went to counseling, I'll never forget, I had this man counselor and I hated him because I'm really bad at communication, and I would sit there and cry and he'd be like, talk, and I'd be like, no. And I remember
is this therapy?
Yeah. Okay. So he brought up this conversation and he said, he talked about my stepmom and he said, her, and he was like talking about her, and he was like, you will never look like her. And when I was a kid, I was like, fuck you. I was like, what? I was like so offended. I was like, that's rude. Okay.
Damn.
But now, like looking back and as an adult, he's saying that my body and her body are not the same body, and I will never be able to attain what she looks like because we are not the same person, and our bodies are not meant to look the same. And you cannot live your life chasing to look like someone that is not meant to look like you. And I'm naturally not her, and she's naturally not me. And so when I became so obsessed with CrossFit, and you look at this picture of a person and you're saying, I want to look like that, but those aren't things that your body is naturally gonna ever turn into, in my opinion. Like I feel like certain people naturally have wider hips, or naturally have bigger boobs, or a bigger butt, or bigger hips, and some people have no hips, and whatever it is. And when you're chasing this thing that naturally for your body is kind of unattainable, it's like a never ending thing where you just keep going until you feel like, well, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
And you never will.
You never will be.
It's that whole like quote of like comparison's the thief of joy.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and it's not just like with your body. It's like with like money. It's with like status. It's with like power.
With everything, yeah.
Yeah, if you compare yourself to other people who are just like not necessarily better than you, but like something that you don't have.
Yeah.
Or like you're gonna put your like mental state in a spot where it's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know.
So for me, when I was doing CrossFit, it's so crazy because when I was doing CrossFit, that's like the worst that my body dysmorphia has ever been. Because
can you describe what body dysmorphia is?
Yes. So it's still something that I struggle with like every day of my life. It's the most crazy mental thing ever because I got to a point where my stomach was literally non-existent. Like I had like no waist. And I swear on my life that I
really? And this was
like senior year. And I obviously I always had like curves, but my stomach, like I was really like small in the waist. And like I would look at my reflection in the mirror and I'm not even kidding. I can still see it in my head. Like looking back at you is not what is actually in the mirror. And so
what
like
you see like
I see
your
myself.
Your waist was this small, like say super small, and you envisioned it like bigger?
Yes, like I envisioned myself 2 times bigger than I actually looked in the mirror. And like I was so obsessed with like, no, I want to look smaller. I want to look smaller. And for me, I didn't like start trying to heal these areas of like eating and like dieting and working out until I moved to LA and I was like forced to be alone and like not be, you know. And through high school, I had a boyfriend like the whole time because that like was comfort to me. Like I didn't have to like worry so much. And for me, when I moved to LA and I was like forced to be alone, like that was the first time in my life that I lived alone. And now you're in a studio apartment in Koreatown and you're like, well, I guess I should start figuring out how to love me because it's just me here right now.
So how did you do that? Because you said you were in this spot of like depression and just body dysmorphia and like just like not loving yourself. And obviously there's a lot of people out there who deal with that.
Yeah.
And like I've been there like certain points in my life. Probably there's solid like I think it was my junior year of college, solid like 6-7 months. How did you get out of that headspace?
So one, I feel like it's crazy moving. So my family, I love them to death, right? But it's crazy recognizing that sometimes your comfort zone and where you grew up is not really positively impacting you. And in the sense of like
What do you mean by that?
Like I mean that like growing up, you know, I had these things where like I would hear things and like that shaped the way I looked at working out and dieting and all these things, and that was all formed in that environment. You know what I mean? So moving out of that environment helps you get into helps you get into like a different. It switches your headspace because you're like, this is my family and I love them so much, and this is my hometown and this is the people that shaped me and who I am. But I also have to recognize that they might have been toxic in certain ways in my life, and like and not them trying to be, but just like they were. And so for me personally, I had a break. I got out of my relationship, and.
So you broke up with your boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
So now I'm 18, living alone. So how did I get out of it?
Hold on, I was smiling because I was reflecting of very similar aspects of like my life too, because I don't think I suffered with body dysmorphia, but like I got super into working out probably when I was like 19. Became like a personal trainer a couple years later, but like I love my mom to death, but she would always make fun. It was like my mom's like super Asian, like 4'11", speaks Chinese like lady. She would always like she would say Kiana makes fun of my mom says like Nathan like that, and then she would say like, oh, you have a tummy like
yeah,
and like it's not a big deal, like it's funny, like she's joking, but those for me at that stage of my life, at like late teen, it's like, fuck, am I really?
Yeah, no, that really impacts the way you look at life. And I also, one more thing before I tell you how I helped get out of it is the speech that people use towards you when you are the skinniest that you are, and basically, you know, you're working out every day and you're at the most unhealthy mental stage of your life.
Maybe
but
physically
then that,
too, if you're too skinny. If you're that
well,
skinny.
no, I wasn't that skinny, but like I physically looked good to people. Like I looked better than I did before.
Sure.
So they're commenting on the way that my body looks now, and they're saying you look so good. And in my head, I'm like, okay, so they're saying I look good, but also I'm at the most detrimental mental state ever. I genuinely hate the way that I look in the mirror still. And so now these people are telling you that you look good now where you are, but you're mentally not okay. And so you're like, well, do I need to keep doing this to look like this? Because now people are complimenting the way that I look. And so that's why I really push a lot. Every friend that I have, I tell a lot of people, whether someone like loses weight or, because, you know, people comment more on people losing weight. So whether someone loses weight or gains weight, just don't say anything, because you can compliment someone and say, oh my God, you look so good, but you have no clue mentally what's going on. They could be not eating. They could be doing all these things that are really unhealthy for their body. And in your head, you're thinking, oh, you look good. You look like you slimmed down, whatever it is. But they could be inside really struggling and going into really unhealthy habits, which those comments can trigger them going into further.
I do agree with you. That makes sense. But there's like, especially like me in the fitness space, I guess the counter argument to that is like, a lot of people are searching that. Like they want to be affirmed that their hard work is paying off. Yeah. And that they're doing it in a healthy way. But like, I see both sides of the coin. Like I totally get where you're coming from, and that could be totally detrimental for someone's like mental and physical health. But for like someone who's like dieting properly in their own eyes, and who's like goals to lose like some weight, like those affirmations of like, wow, you look good, like really could affect someone's mind positively.
Yeah. Well, 100%. I feel like I understand where you're coming from in like a gym standpoint. Like let's say you're training someone and they say, Nate, this is my goals, da da da. And you can physically see that they're doing it in the correct way, and they're also in the correct mindset. Yeah. But for me, like as a like junior in high school, when like I go out in public and people were like, oh my God, girl, you're so skinny. And you're like, yeah, I literally am eating broccoli for every meal and am crying in the mirror every day. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like those kind of things can just like trigger you going further and further into those really unhealthy habits. Yeah. So I feel like it's just like a very tricky line to cross. I also feel like verbiage around people, you know, like you grow up and always being like the one that was like had like more curves, comments like, oh my God, I'm so fat today, or like I'm so this, or I'm so this. And it's like things like that where when you're like the biggest one in the group and then everyone is saying like, oh my God, I'm so fat today, and you're saying that with such a negative connotation, then it looks at like, I'm looking at your body and you're skinny and you're saying you look fat today, and then it's like, so what am I, like, what are you, what am I to you know? So those types of things, and just like verbiage, the way that you talk around people, and you know, you can't be sensitive to everyone has things that is like, you know, you can't like you can't censor everything that you say, but it's certain things like that and comments like that people who have always walked in like a skinnier body never really think about, and think about the way that their words can affect someone really going through body dysmorphia and things like, you know, body image.
No, I totally see that. Like I have, I definitely see that too. Like in especially growing up, like, I was never like the biggest kid. I was never the skinniest kid. I was kind of like just pretty center. But, when people would say like things like, oh, I don't I like kind of big today, when like a friend who's like
smaller than you,
extremely overweight,
okay,
is there, he'd be like, bro, like, oh, he wouldn't say anything, but you could tell like he made like a face. He made a face, you know?
Yeah, because it's almost tone deaf in a way, you know? Because, and the thing is that you're entitled to feeling that way about your body. If you feel, oh, I don't feel good today, you're entitled to feel that way. Yeah. But it's more so the verbiage of using the word like fat, meaning ugly, in like in that type of way. So that's what like triggers that thought process of like skinny is beautiful, fat is ugly. Because it's like, you know, if you look bad in something, you're like, oh, I look fat. And so you're immediately saying, if you're existing in a bigger body, you're ugly in a way, you know? And that's like kind of the thought process. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I went off on a tangent, but.
No, I'm just, that's awesome to hear too. Yeah. But like, so especially being like a trainer in LA, I have like, cause I'm all for like equality in every single way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And I support I don't know, every single buddy's rights. Like
100%.
whatever it is out there, like you do your thing. Like I truly believe like America is like the land of opportunity, and you could honestly create whatever life you have here.
Yep.
And but when it comes to like body positivity and stuff, the line is like
unhealthy.
The unhealthy part. Unhealthy part to like a point where it's like extremely unhealthy. Yeah. Like I'll see a TikTok with literally someone who's 500 pounds. Yeah. And will show like stretch marks saying like this is body positivity, all this 100%. Stuff, which is cool. Like I get it, but the second part is like, what's your blood pressure? Yeah. What's your blood pressure? What's your like how are your knees? Yeah. Like these things.
100%. And I completely. Yeah.
What's your standpoint on that?
So for me, it's hard because like I'm like in the body positivity community, but I'm almost like at the line where they don't really like accept me, you know, because I'm like the first size in modeling where it becomes like being a plus size model, you know, because I'm like literally like I fluctuate between like a size 12, which like goes into like plus size. But in modeling, I'm considered like a curve model. So I'm in like the 8 to 12 range where it's like you're like in the middle. And it can be difficult because I want to promote positivity for my body type because there's a lot of people that look just like me.
There is.
But then you post out on social media and then you get backlash from people who are existing in bigger bodies and they want to say, but you're the ideal plus size body shape. So if someone says, oh, I want to be like curvy and plus size, they're going to want to push your body shape, like being more hourglass. So I feel like I'm almost like on the outskirts because I do work out. I work out like 4 to 5 days a week. And I think that I've now got to the point where I've been trying to heal working out in my brain and like what that means to me. Yeah. And I do think that people should exercise, but I also think that they should exercise because they want to exercise for their mental health.
Yeah, not necessarily to change your body.
Exactly. And I think that body positivity is good in the sense that people feel seen and they feel included and they feel accepted in bodies that have never felt accepted before, and they live, you know, because some people, like, let's say you take a medication and you can't control your weight and you're this size and you're like, oh God, like I can't live in this body. Like I hate the way that I look. And then you see someone who's saying like, it's okay to be you. I think that that's really important. But I also I understand what you're saying where there's a fine line between like, okay, now you're just promoting an unhealthy lifestyle. Yeah. And I do completely agree with that. That it can cross that line. And I personally like working out, so I don't ever promote like don't exercise and like those types of things. But I know what you're saying. Like there's a fine line, and I don't really have like an opinion on that, mainly because I've never been that size and I've never existed in that body. And I feel like it's important to just know that like I can only speak on my body. And like I know that in my body, people still will think that I'm unhealthy. Like they will literally, like that's comments that I've heard. Sure. And I exist in this body that I work out 5 days a week and I eat healthy. And I'm like, this is me. Like this is me being naturally me. Yeah.
So I mean, the counter argument to that too is like a skinny model isn't quote unquote healthy.
No, not at all.
So like that's the other end of the spectrum. Exactly. Like body dysmorphia can be like you're too skinny. Yeah. Right? So someone be like, will get so skinny to the point where everyone's saying you're beautiful. Go back 10 years ago.
100%.
Right? And they're working out. They're not eating. They're all this stuff.
Eating cotton balls.
Yeah. Right? And it's
but
similar.
they're the standard of beauty.
It's similar, you know? So, like, I was just curious because I don't know how to, like, go about my day and, like, not... I'm like, yeah, do you? Like, that's awesome. But, like... do you want to live to like you're 90? Like, do you want to, you know, like, do you want to be able to like walk? Like,
it's hard because, you know, the thing is that person, like they'll find health and fitness if they want to find it. And for me personally, I kind of just let it go out of my hands because in the sense of they live in a body that they probably would live their whole lives never accepting who they are. So I kind of look at that as like, if you can live in this body and be like, I'm the shit, like I applaud you, because so many people like walking, people don't understand that. I don't want to be like, oh my God, fat people are oppressed, you know, but
or what?
Oppressed. But like there's actually things that like existing in a bigger body, people do treat you differently. And for someone to openly be like, I'm fat and I love how I look, I'm like, that's really hard, because when you live in a body that society hates and you can proclaim that you love it, I think that takes a huge amount of strength.
Sure.
Do I think that people should be still taking care of their health? Yes, I do. And that's why I personally do. And I think that, like you're saying, it's crazy. I could walk on the street and people are like, oh my God, she's unhealthy. But yet I work out 5 days a week and I eat 3 meals a day, where I like eat chicken and broccoli and I fucking cook and like, you know, like I don't, but like I can't convince you that my body is healthy and you see a girl who is starving herself and she's this small and you think that she's healthy. You know, you really can't like fix that mindset.
Yeah.
But I feel like for me personally, my weight like has fluctuated a lot, and it's all because of my relationship with working out and with food. And in the sense of, I go in these like little seasons where I work out really, really hard, and I'm like, okay, and then I can recognize myself getting into those really unhealthy mindsets again, and like that's when
you'll like pause.
So then I'll pause and I'll be like, okay, I need to take a step back because I know how I can overdo this. So then I'll go in a season where I won't work out for 6 months, and then I'll work out again, and then I won't.
Well, everything's like in seasons too. Like everything's like peak and valleys, and like
100%.
just in life, like with work, with everything you want to do, you know, in your body.
Yeah, 100%. But as far as the thing of not knowing how to approach that, I can't give you an answer. Mainly
it's
because
all good. I like your perspective on it.
No, yeah, because it's mainly just because sometimes I don't feel I can talk on certain issues because I am not in that body.
Yeah, it's and like you don't understand because you didn't live that life with that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things of just I don't know how to even tell you, because I get comments that are like, you're not even plus size, and I'm like, I don't know what to do here, because I don't fit in with you and I don't fit in with you. So I'm just trying. But the thing is that there's, whether you're a size 4, whether you're a size 6, a size 10, a size 15, a size 25, everybody deserves to be represented. And I feel like that's like the shift that's happening right now in the modeling industry, where it's like, you know, it's a clothing brand and they're wanting to sell their clothes. And in order for you, like, even from like a money and like a monetary standpoint,
if you want to sell stuff, you have to be represented to those people who have those bodies, right?
Exactly. So like, even from if you want to make money as a brand, like why would you not be showing it on bodies that look like real people in the world?
Like one of the biggest ads or like music videos or like whatever was like Rihanna's Fenty on Amazon. I don't know what it was, but Lizzo was wearing lingerie and fucking going off dancing. Yeah. And I was like, damn, that's dope.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fucking fire.
Like the amount of confidence, or I don't know if it's like real confidence, but hopefully it's real confidence. The amount of like portrayed confidence that is shown on everybody's bodies in that video is very inspiring, I guess.
It is.
Because at least for me too, like, I'm like, oh, you don't look good some days or this, that. And like, that's all in like your head type of deal. One, like, I always have this like phrase, like, get better today. Like every time I work out with anything, just like improve in your life. Right. Yeah. And, but that doesn't mean not enjoy where you're at right now, you know?
100%.
So like, that's dope though. Like when I see you post like, your like little model photos, I'm like, and you look so confident, girl. Like you strut. And what's your Instagram? Just shout out real quick.
Averi Camille.
Averi Camille. Those are inspiring too. I was like, wow, like because like that the way you take a photo is like kind of art too. Like you're showing confidence. You're showing like obviously like angles and stuff like that. But like, ironically, to see how far you've come from like how insecure you used to be and all that stuff to where you are now. Weird. Like how did you get into, so you came to LA.
Okay, yeah.
You started makeup and it sounds like you're not in makeup anymore.
Yeah, so basically for me, like, you know how I said I really didn't like the film aspect of makeup school, and I feel like for me, unfortunately, it kind of killed my passion for makeup in ways. Yeah. Because I was going to school every single day and it became a chore. Whereas like when I was in high school and I was doing makeup, it was just fun and it was like.
Did you not see the opportunity in LA though for makeup though? Because it's out here in terms of
100%. There's so much opportunity to be a makeup artist, but for me, okay, so I got out of makeup school, finished makeup school. I was still like, I want to be a makeup artist. So I started working at a makeup store that one of my makeup teachers got me the job because she's like, okay, so when you get out of makeup school, you need to build your kit. You know, you need to get all these things. Yeah. So
those kits are wild. They got
dude, it's so expensive too. So working in a makeup store is a good opportunity to get free shit. Yeah, basically to build your kit. So when I was working there, they would put me, they told me that I was going to be doing more makeup than I was. And it was actually just a fucking retail store. And I was like, I thought I was going to be like doing people's makeup. And they're like, oh yeah, clients come in and they want their makeup done. No, this was like 7-year-old women that'd be like, can you try this concealer on me? And I'd be like, what? So then I'd sit there and put their concealer on. But they would put me at the door, okay? So I would have I had really short hair, short curly hair, and I'd wear red lipstick like every day, okay?
You sound like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have you seen that show?
No.
Oh, you gotta see it.
I'm sheltered. So I would stand. They would put me at the door. I was in Larchmont Village. I don't know if you know where that is.
No, where's it at?
It's so cute. It's like a little street by Melrose-ish. Okay. So anyway, it might not be by Melrose. I think it's by Melrose. So they put me at the door.
You don't even know where it is.
No, right? They put me at the door, and I would work the door, and I would just like stand there and smile at people and tell people to come in. So when I started working there, people would stop, and they'd be like, "Do you do acting? Do you do modeling? Do this?" And I was like, "What the fuck are these people talking about?" Because I always grew up, and people would say, "Oh my God, your face is so pretty." You know, like I would hear that. Like they'd be like, "You have such pretty features."
Yeah,
but
you do.
Yeah, well, thank you. But they wouldn't like. It was always like, "Oh, your face is pretty," you know. And so I was like, "Okay, cool," you know. It's like, thanks. I guess I have some cool eyebrows, you know.
Yo, you got some gnarly eyebrows, by the way.
Zoom in. No, I'm kidding. Just look on my Instagram. I look kind of trashy right now. But I would. Okay, so they would start stopping me, and then I had someone who was like, "Hey, I'm a photographer. Like, do you ever take photos?" And I'm like freaked out.
You're shook.
Yeah, I'm like, girl, are you kidding? Like, no. And I always like taking photos of myself because I'd photograph my makeup that I would do. Okay. And people would always say you're naturally photogenic, but I was always like, the way that I think that I look, I don't think that I would be in front of a camera, you know? That's just naturally how I thought of myself.
Also, like how you grew up and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With everything in mind. So people started stopping me. It happened like a couple of times. Finally, this model comes in, and she was a plus size model, and I'm talking to her, and I'm selling her this skincare, and she's like, yeah, I have a shoot. And she had acne. Like, she had acne in her face, and I'm talking to her about this product, and I'm looking at her, and she's like, yeah, I'm a plus size model. Like, that's what I do. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, it just made me look at it in a different perspective of like meeting.
Like, I'm more beautiful than you, bro.
No, not at all. But it was more so I looked at her, and I was like, you're a real person. Yeah. Like you look like me, and you're a real person. You're saying you do this as a career, you know? She had like cellulite on her legs. She had spots on her face. And I was just like, whoa, like, is this like a real thing? So I was like, you know, people have been coming up to me since I started working here and asking me like if I model. And I just like never looked at that as like an outlet for me. Like I never pictured that as my life. Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, what? Like you could totally. And I was like, okay. Then she ends up telling me, she's like,
how old are you at this point?
I just turned 19.
Okay.
So then she's like, why don't I send your profile to my agent? So I was like, okay. Like what? No. Okay. So she sends her profile to her agent and my profile, and she was signed with a bigger agency in LA called Scout. Mm-hmm. Then I went in for a meeting, and they took my measurements and did all that shit, and they offered me a contract like that day.
Right off the gate. You're lying.
I swear to God. So
wait, this is like no modeling experience. Like you haven't.
I literally told her, I said, I have never done a photo shoot in my whole entire life. I don't. And she's like, it's okay. Yeah. So they signed me, and I'm literally like, call my mom. I'm like, Mom, I just got signed to a modeling agency. And my parents are like, you fucking lunatic. What are you doing? Like, you said you're moving out there for makeup. Like, what is like, you're modeling now? Like, what is that? Like, you.
Wait, they didn't even say congratulations?
Oh, well, no, they were like, cool. But they didn't call me a fucking lunatic. But that's like in their head what they're thinking. And like, also, unintentionally, like my parents, we live in a very small town, you know, so like to them a model is like a Victoria's Secret show, you know, so they still they're not exposed to that.
Do they understand it a little bit better now?
They do understand it a little bit better now, but also you have to understand that me being like curvier, I'm automatically more sexualized than other models. Like curvier models are always more sexualized because they have bigger boobs, they have a bigger butt, they have all these things, so it looks like more sexual.
So are you saying that your comments are wild?
They are wild. But what I'm saying is that my dad and my stepmom were like, excuse you, and I'm like, but like if I posted a photo in a bikini and I was like a size 2, it wouldn't look sexual because I don't really have like anything to be like showing off. So it's kind of like was trying to like switch them into that mindset of like, I'm not being sexual, I'm just existing confidently in my body. So for me, even when I got signed though, I was like, what the heck? Like, I was not prepared.
Were you comfortable to like throw on a bikini and just like shoot?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. I literally had not worn a bathing suit at a beach since I was like 10 years old. I swear to God. I literally I would not wear bathing suits at like swim parties. I didn't do any of that. Like, I literally would go, if I'd go to a party in high school that was like a swim party, I would literally not wear a bathing suit. Like,
so how did you get to the spot right now where you'll throw on a piece of lingerie for like a brand and be like strutting it?
Yeah. So honestly,
like would you like talk to yourself in the mirror and be like, Avery, you got this?
So, okay. So what helped me is that, well, through COVID, I went through like multiple different stages. I was depressed. I was not depressed. I was in the best place. I was in the worst place. But thankfully, COVID did a lot of bad things for a lot of people. But for me personally, it put like a stop on what was happening really fast that I needed to like slow down.
Sure.
Because for me, I got signed to this agency. I never did a photo shoot. I was still very young, and I'm still very young, but I was not in a mental place and didn't understand things fully where I should be modeling. And so thankfully, like basically I got signed for 3 months. I was just like trying to do photo shoots and like build a book.
What do you mean for 3 months? So it was a 3-month contract?
No. Like I had been signed for 3 months.
Okay.
So I was like going to a couple castings, but I had like no experience, no photos of myself. So I didn't really have much to offer. And then COVID hit and my agent that signed me got furloughed. So I was passed on to the San Francisco agents. And obviously nothing was going on during that whole period of COVID. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, like this sucks. That was my opportunity. Like I got signed to an agency and now like nothing's happening. And then I was like, now looking back, I'm like, thank God I was not booked for like Savage X Fenty or like something like that back in that period of my life, because I don't think I mentally could have handled it. Like I mentally wasn't in the space to be able to handle that stuff.
What made you ready for it when the time came?
So basically, I always tell people, fake it till you make it. It literally helps so much. I would get on, like I would have to do things, and like when you're there and that's your job and you're getting paid to do this, you literally have no choice other than to be like, let's fucking do it. And then you eventually get to the point where you're like, I'm okay existing like this. Like, I'm okay being like this. And you become more comfortable. And, you know, like I go through waves where like I will be okay taking a Savage X Fenty monthly sponsored post. And I feel like, fuck yeah, like fire, you know? And then other months I'm like, I can't post this. Like, I hate the way that I look. I hate these things. And honestly, fake it till you make it is like, that's what I had to do, because I got pushed into this experience without having the confidence to really handle it. And then, you know, you kind of like, unfortunately, when you start doing it and you realize that like people are telling you it's okay, like it's okay to exist the way you are, you look amazing, like all these things. And then even though you shouldn't be going off of what people are saying about you, it does make you start having those conversations with yourself, because you're like, wait, you're okay with this? Like, you're accepting me like this? And so I just, you know, it's like about doing the work, like sitting down and like really affirming yourself. And like, I spent so many days like looking in the mirror and I could like just not stop crying uncontrollably. But like, it's about switching your brain to like look at yourself and like positively affirm like who you are. And I feel like the days that impacted the most, it's like, on the days when you feel worse about your body, is like forcing your brain and your mouth to talk good things to yourself. That's when the change happens. It's not on the days that you feel like you look good. It's on the days that you're like, I cannot stand myself right now, but I'm going to choose to love the way I am right now and like exist in this body and love it right now. And so I feel like on those days, on the really bad days, like positive affirmations can really make a huge difference. But for me also, just like getting in front of the camera and like just being like, even if you can't do this right now, like do it. And like, it's crazy looking at photos of myself now, because I look at a photo and I'll be like, do I look like that? Like, I still suffer from body dysmorphia really bad, but like not really, you know. But looking at my,
like the whole fake it till you make it though, I feel like you had a really neat opportunity, right? Like, you got signed without any modeling experience.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Right? But there's plenty of people, girls especially, who are modeling, doing shoots, who haven't been signed with the label, who who are faking it until they might not even be putting enough work in to, you know what I'm saying? So that's like the other end of it that I don't necessarily agree with.
Fake it till you make it, like walk in the room like you're that bitch, even if you really think you're not that bitch. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying fake it till you make that way. I'm saying fake it till you make it, like when you get signed on this job and they say you're going to be modeling this piece of lingerie in front of 50 people in this set, and you feel like, I cannot do that, like walk in and be like, I've been doing this every day of my life. That's what I'm saying. Fake it till you make it. I'm saying, like, even if you don't have the confidence or the strength in that moment to handle that, do it. Like you've been doing it every single day, and they will never know any difference, because like you can look at a photo of me and you say, damn, you look so confident in that photo. And that day I was literally having a breakdown in the bathroom, but I found it within me, the strength within me to be like, also, you're going to see that photo and you're going to say, wow, like that's a beautiful photo and that's like really inspiring.
You also would never know.
Exactly.
Like,
and a little girl sitting in her bedroom that hates herself can see that photo and be like, I look like her and she thinks she's beautiful. So I'm going to think I'm beautiful. So I've also looked at it in a way of like modeling. For me, it's like, you know, you have people like, oh, I model, and it sounds so stupid. Like, it's like, you model? Like, what?
Does it? Does it sound
stupid? It does sound stupid, because it's like, really, like, you're a model, you know? That's how I look at it. But in my head, the way I look at it is like, every time that I do a photo shoot, like, I could be positively impacting the way that a girl looks at herself from now on.
Oh, I love that.
Because, so like, that's why I find like a lot of strength in it, is because like someone could look at this photo of me and forever from that day on look at themselves differently. So I've kind of connected it to like what I've been through my whole life, and like really hating the way that I looked and not seeing anyone that looked like me, not thinking it was okay to exist like me, and just like hoping that a little girl sees it and thinks, damn, like she's confident and I could be confident too.
So what's your advice? Obviously you have like those photos out there for the world to see, that those little girls could see, that be like, oh damn, like I could do that type of deal. But like, if you had to describe it in like words, like what would you tell like those little girls?
What would I tell them? Oh God.
Like what if they're like, dang, like I'm on the bigger side. I'm healthier. Like I still work out, all these things, but like they're insecure with their bodies, but they do have like nice features, and they want to like be seen in a special light of like LA or Hollywood or just the world in general. Like what is like your advice to that person in terms of like, oh yeah, you can do that?
I think that especially in a city like LA and in the modeling industry, the way that it's moving, there's a space for everyone. And I think that the way that you look is so unique to another person. Yeah. And there's someone that sees you, whether you don't see yourself. And I think that everyone is so uniquely made, and that's why like I love people and I love looking at people, especially people who are now being accepted in the modeling industry, because you can look at someone and there's something so beautiful about everyone. And everyone has something about them that is so beautiful. And I think that, you know, if someone's considering doing modeling and they're like, I think I can do this, you probably can do it, because anyone can do it, literally. And especially now in this time, anyone can do it. So what I would tell them, if it's someone who's struggling and they're like, I hate the way that I look, like I genuinely think positive affirmations and just genuinely doing the inner work on yourself when you're alone in your room, like that shit can impact you for years and years to come. But if someone's saying like, I think I can do this, then just do it. Like, cause I personally would never have got into modeling if someone didn't like push me into it. And some people don't have it inside of them to do it, but I think that just start. Like you have to start somewhere. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's the whole thing with like for example, this podcast. Right? Like I wanted to do it probably for a year and a half before I started. And then one day my roommate at the time was like, let's film it right now.
Yeah, you just got to do it.
Let's start right now. Like,
wait, I love that.
Press record.
I love that.
Let's go. And like, it's those interactions too, and just starting it that builds the momentum. Nice.
What did I do? What did I do?
It was just stuck to the coaster.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
It's the momentum and stuff from like any interaction or anything that you want to do that makes you like get better at it, and like continue just by doing it more often, automatically you're gonna get better at it. You know?
Yeah, you just gotta do it.
Yeah,
like that's so cliche, but like literally just fucking do it.
Yeah,
Like,
do the work, and then you'll get better at it, and then continue.
100%.
So you've been out here for a minute now.
Yep.
And I'm assuming you don't work at that makeup job anymore. Mm-mm. You're doing relatively well, like modeling. Mm-hmm. So what are you most excited for in your life right now? Like what do you have? What's the game plan of just like life?
Mm-hmm. So I'm like a very firm believer that I actually still identify as Christian.
Okay.
And I am a very firm believer that like, obviously everything that's meant for me is going to be meant for me. And
What do you mean by that? Everything that's meant for you is going to be meant for you.
Yeah, like everything that's meant for me will be mine, basically is what I'm saying. So like I'm a firm believer that like I've always like lived with a sense of like peace in my life where even if I have like no direction, like I'm not sure where I'm headed, I always have peace that like I have really good things coming for me. I've just always known that my life is headed in like a really good direction.
I love that.
And so for me, like right now I've honestly, since getting out of COVID, I was going through such a weird period of like not really like knowing like, okay, do I want to be doing modeling? Do I want to be like, cause now I'm 21 and I'm like, should I have gone to college? Should I have gotten like more of like, you know, all these things.
You still have those thoughts?
I do, because I'm like, well, what am I going to do in 7 years? You know, like in 7 years when I'm like, well, do I still want to be modeling? What can I be doing? So for me, I'm looking forward to, like, I'm about to be 22 and I'm so excited to like just discover myself more, because I feel like every couple months I learn more about my capability. And like coming out of COVID, I was in the worst, like I still am struggling. Like I used to be so motivated. And when I got out of COVID, like, well, during COVID, I got in like I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was just like, so like, what is this, you know? And then coming out of it, when you're like supposed to switch back into like real life, and like, I was at that point, like, what now? Like, I don't know. I like lost that momentum. And so for me, I feel like every day since then, I've been like genuinely waking up every day and like giving myself grace and being like, today you're going to be your best. And like, that's okay. You know? So I feel like living in LA, there's a lot of pressure to like accomplish these things. And I can put a lot of pressure on myself of being like, I'm 22 and this time I want to have this done and this done and this done. Yeah. And I feel like for me, it's kind of a balance of giving myself grace and being like, you're doing your best you can, you're working on your mental health, like you're doing good, but then also having that hustle at the same time. Yeah. So for me, I am really excited because I feel like I have a very like business brain. I grew up.
Why do you say that?
So I say that because my grandma, she's a hustler. Okay.
Come on, Grandma.
Come on, Grandma. So my grandma, she has 3 sons, and she's opened a restaurant for each of them, okay? And she started her first one. She was like 20. She was like running the whole shit by herself. Like, that's impressive. She was like cooking the gumbo and like cashing people out.
Come on, gumbo.
Cokes. No, swear to God.
I need to have some grandma's gumbo.
I'm going to send you some. So basically, I feel like I always saw that. And I grew up in a household where my dad owned his own business. And I've always, since a young age, I was like, I don't want anyone to be the boss of me. Like, I want to be my own boss. I've always said that. And I've always like seen it in me since a really young age, being able to like hustle and make something of nothing. Yeah. And watching my dad have the freedom, like, it's obviously not easy to be a business owner because I see him sacrifice a lot, but I also see him live a very free lifestyle in other ways. Being a business owner,
freedom of doing what you want to do when you want to do it,
exactly,
with the people you want to do it with, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I've always wanted to be my own boss, and I've always felt like I look at growing up in a business and watching your dad own a business, I've always watched that and like been able to see how it works.
Sure.
So that's why I like working in restaurants, because I feel connected to my family in that way.
Aw.
Yeah, that's why I like it. I feel like it's like home for me. Yeah. But I feel like I'm really excited because
also I think working in restaurants, being surrounded by like-minded people
100%
is very inspiring.
100%.
And it's like, it gives you affirmations like, oh, these people are doing the exact same thing I'm doing. I'm on the right path.
100%. And I feel like for me, I'm really excited because I can, you know how, I don't know if you've ever felt this feeling, but you can like feel momentum in your life. Like you can like feel it, like even though I don't know what it is, I can just like feel the momentum of like really good things happening for me. And that's like kind of where I'm at right now, is like, I know that I've always been meant to, whether it's have my own business, whether it's be in this really big position, like whatever it is. I don't know what it is yet, but I can like feel it happening for me. And I just like am really excited. And I feel like when I'm saying, why I brought up why I'm Christian is because I believe that, you know, I don't know if you ever heard this quote, but some people, you know, you spend your whole life praying to like get to this point, right? You spend your whole life praying for like one thing. You're like, God, please do this one thing for me, right? And do
people usually do that?
Well, yeah, like you'll be like, God, like I want this position. God, I want this, like this wife, or I want this, like,
Okay.
like God, send me the best woman on earth. You know, like people pray for things. People do. People pray for things, or they want something their whole life. But people neglect the work that they should be putting in on the journey to get there.
Sure.
Because sometimes the biggest opportunity or the biggest blessing in your life could be right in front of you, but you spent so much time waiting for it to happen that you did not take advantage of the journey that you're on to like develop yourself into being the best version you are to handle that opportunity. Because I could be handed tomorrow or like in 5 years the best opportunity ever, but I spent 5 years saying, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? Instead of spending that time and like putting in the work. And that way, when I get that opportunity, I can handle it. And I'm at the position in my life that I don't fuck it up. Yeah. And like, I feel like a lot of people, they neglect that part of it. Like, cause I'm a firm believer that like, okay, like basically what I'm saying, I don't make sense. Basically what I'm saying is like there's like that quote where it's like, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, right? That's like in the Bible. Okay. It says that. Okay.
He who finds a wife finds a good thing. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm relating it back to relationships just because of that. So it's like, you know, you sit there and you're like, I want a wife. Okay. But then the best woman walks into your life. Okay. But you have spent the whole time wishing for her and not making yourself the best man that you could be to handle her. So you can meet your wife, but you're kind of a piece of shit and don't have the confidence to walk with a woman in your life that is confident and is all these things that you've been praying for, and you can fuck that up.
I love that. Wow. No, that's amazing, because like a lot of people who believe that way. So a lot of people believe in like The Secret, the law of attraction, which is similar to what you just said in terms of like faith. Yeah. And like they're like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna wish for this like really, 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 really fancy house. Yeah. And like they never put in the work to like get it. They put it on their poster board, but they're playing video games and fucking eating like whatever. Or they get the house. They get the house and they get that blessing. They say, I just got this blessing, right? But they have not spent the time like learning like how to be smart with their finances and do all of these things. Yeah. So they get the house and they get the thing that's like, this is the biggest blessing, but they didn't spend the time like learning about how to be a homeowner and how to nurture this home and like all of these things. And you could get this blessing, but not be in the mental maturity in your life to be able to handle that blessing. Sure.
So you could get the house, you could put in the work and get the house, but can you handle the house?
Oh, wow.
Can you handle the house, Nate?
No, this is real, because so before I lived in this place, I lived in a very nice house in Studio City. I couldn't handle the house. Yeah. I couldn't handle the house.
Why? It's because you wished for the house and you didn't develop yourself to be able to handle the house.
Yeah, which like that's so ironic, because like I feel like where I'm at right now with the space that I have and everything like that, I could handle it. Yeah. Like I'm very comfortable and like confident in like all the things that I'm controlling in my life right now. That's super funny. Like,
because it's like, it's kind of like me. Like, it's like if I'm like, oh, I'm going to get this CEO position and I'm going to pray for it. I'm going to want the CEO, you know? And then I get it. And it's like, but I can't be a CEO. I'm not in the mental capacity to be able to handle this job.
Or like have the knowledge or the expertise. You're like, instead of like, I don't know, reading books about how to do bookkeeping or like X, Y, and Z.
So a lot of times when I put like I put a lot of expectations on myself and like what I want for my life, I try to like sit back and take a step back and be like, chill, because you know what? Like you should be in this moment. You know, I know for my life there are really big things coming. So until those things are put in front of me, and like obviously you have to do the work to get there. I'm doing that. But like I can't sit there and be like, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? Why has my agent not called me with this job? Blah, blah, blah. Because I'm like, I should be sitting here working on myself in these moments instead of thinking, why do I not have it yet? Because I want to be able, when I get there, to be like, yeah, I've been working so long for this that I'm ready, you know? So
you say you want to be this businesswoman, and you're not necessarily like you're meant to be this businesswoman, right? Yeah. And like, So what type of business?
That's the thing. The thing is that I've always said that, like, I could see myself owning a restaurant. I could see myself having my own clothing line. I can see myself doing multiple different things. I could see myself owning a marketing agency.
Avery, I was driving down Sunset the other day.
Oh God, okay.
And so Avery works at a restaurant. I work at a restaurant. It's both on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh God, did you see me?
And I was driving at the stop sign, and I look over, and Avery's just doing her thing, bro. She's like,
what was I doing?
She's going to one table, another table, like chatting one up, making a joke. She's laughing. This is
really?
This is all within
God, spotted.
This is all within 25 seconds. I was gonna holler, but I knew she was like doing her thing.
Was I busy?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's good.
It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
It wasn't like uber busy, but it was the point where like
I was running around.
You're running the whole restaurant because like it's only one server.
Yeah.
Yeah. So continue. I just want to let you know.
Oh my God, that's funny. I don't even remember what I was saying. No, but I feel like for me, like
no, the business.
So I feel like I'm at the point in my life where I'm about to be 22, like I said, and I just am at the point where I'm kind of
still
like
young as fuck.
Going around and like seeing what sets my heart on fire, because I've always like, that's why I did makeup for so long, is because it really set my heart on fire. Like it was my passion that time because I had something that fueled that.
Sure.
And so now like I'm doing modeling and I really love it, and I feel like I can definitely. I'm all about like getting, like I like doing modeling because it's obviously what I said, it gives me purpose, but it also is like a really good money opportunity as well.
What do you call it are you comfortable with talking about rates and stuff?
Rates?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What?
I was just curious, like for like modeling.
Yeah.
Like what's like a good modeling rate? Like
yeah. It depends. Like, okay, like a shoot that I did a couple weeks ago, the rate was like, I got there at like 10. I left at like 6.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 2,900.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's
like how many hours
that's
is
like
that?
average, I'd say. But
11, 12. So that's an 8-hour day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For like close to $3,000.
Yeah.
That's
so that's like normal-ish. You know, but then there's some brands that like you would be so surprised how much people rip models off. Like they're like $50 an hour. I'm like, what the fuck? No, like that's not a lot at all.
Yeah,
like because also you have to understand models are self-employed technically. So even if even though I have an agent,
right?
Yeah, you have to pay taxes and you have to pay commission to your agent. So you have to
pay. Is it 10 or 20?
20.
So it's 20%.
Yeah. So
20% for you.
So it's like, yeah, you can see 2,900, be like, damn, that's one day, but that's not what you're getting off of that. But I'd say like models who have been doing it for a while, like they have like a $4,000 day rate, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's this one girl a model that I had on the podcast early starting, and her biggest day was like a hand modeling gig. And I think it was like $16,000.
Oh yeah, it's probably so commercials are really so like okay, like when I say it was like 2,900, right? That's like just for a shoot, but your agent will like negotiate in like usage and stuff. So like if you're like 2,900 6-month usage. If you do like 2,900 plus unlimited usage, it's going to be a lot more because you're giving them unlimited rights to use your photo from now until forever. But you can like be like, okay, well, 1 month usage. Like if you're using this just for your campaign for 1 month, after that 1 month, you're not allowed to use our model's photo anymore. Okay. Or like if it's a commercial, you get paid based on like once the commercial airs, if you're in the final cut, so you get a day rate, and then you get paid like if the shot is in the national commercial, then you get paid off of that national commercial. There's like a lot of things that trickle off. Commercials are like really good money, and like $16,000, like that's like that. There is things that happen like that. People book like $12,000 commercials and stuff like that. Yeah, but if it's like, I haven't personally done any commercials yet, mainly because I don't know. I'm not an actress.
So I did one commercial, and it was by just because someone was like, "Hey, they're looking for an Asian dude and you're a bartender." It's a Patron commercial.
Oh, that's dope.
And the day rate was like $450, $500.
Oh yeah, they'll rip you off. They'll fucking rip you off.
And I don't know anything about modeling or commercials or anything like that. And then now I think about it, and it was like on Patron's Instagram and everything like that, and I'm just like,
They ripped you off. Yeah, they ripped you off. Yeah. Because they're making so much money off of like, one, you're Asian, so it's like adding diversity into their brand and like all of these different things. They're using you, like they're literally using you to make money, and like they paid you $450. And there are brands that I've worked for that they quote me the rate, and I'll take it because I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything this day, I might as well take it. Yeah. But it's like ridiculous, like what they think that you're worth. It's like crazy. So like when you're doing freelance modeling, like you could still book those jobs where you're making like $2,000 a day or whatever.
Yeah.
But usually brands will like to book models at modeling freelance because they don't have an agent like fighting for rates for them. So a lot more models will just kind of settle for the rate that's
What's
given.
your agency?
It's called The Between.
The Between? Okay.
Mm-hmm. But what were we talking about? Oh, businesswoman. Businesswoman. I've always wanted to own my own clothing line because I love fashion.
You got a lot of ideas.
I have a lot of ideas, and that's the thing. I always I've always been like that way. Like I could write down a million things, and for me, it's about just like finding the avenue that's right for me, but like not rushing in anything.
So if I like say I'm putting a gun to your head right now, and I'd be like, Avery, you need to choose one business that you're gonna work in the rest of your life, and like it's gonna be your baby. It's gonna be what you grow, and it's gonna be.
Do I have unlimited resources to make this amazing?
Everything.
Clothing brand.
Clothing brand.
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Yeah. I feel like I can connect it to what I'm passionate with now, in the sense of I've always liked to dress a certain way, but have never been able to buy clothing that properly fits my body shape. And I've always wanted to curate like a really amazing line that includes everyone. In the sense of like, I've always liked wearing like more, I naturally don't dress super feminine. And
yeah, what's your style? Like streetwear?
Yeah, mainly.
Yeah.
I would say that's mainly what I gravitate towards, which is really hard to shop for.
It's really weird because Avery be wearing street clothes, looking fly as shit, and then you'll see another photo of her in lingerie and be like, whoa. There's
So
like no in between, bro.
I naturally like dressing like a 14-year-old boy. That's naturally how I like to dress. And my whole life, I grew up and I would be like, I'm a tomboy mom. And she'd be like, no, you're not, whatever. And I would always say that because I just naturally like to dress that way. And so if you look on, this is going back to body positivity, but it's all I talk about, whatever. So if you look on curvy, like websites that sell plus size clothing, or websites that promote plus size clothing, all of these things, right? Or if you talk to someone about like women wearing plus size clothing, it's always geared to what is flattering on their body shape. So growing up, I would always hear like people would say like, oh, well, you should wear this because it accentuates your waist, or you should wear this because it's black and it's slimming, or it's this and it's this. And as I've like grown up and like started to come into my own style, I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you think is flattering on my body. If I want to wear it, I'm going to wear it because I like it, not because you think it looks flattering on me.
Isn't that the purpose of like stylists though?
What do you mean?
Like that's what a stylist is supposed to do.
A stylist?
Yeah.
No. I'm not talking about a stylist. I'm talking about like I'm shopping for a homecoming dress and some bitch at the boutique is like, well, you should wear black because that's like slimming. And I'm like, or I'll wear purple because I want to wear purple. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of those things of I've always, one thing that a lot is what I consider skinny privilege, and is something that people don't recognize, is that a lot of places that people shop, they don't look at what size it goes up to. And there are billion-dollar companies in this world who people shop from every single day that go up to literally the average size of a woman in America. Like, they don't even sell that. Like, they literally go up to a size 8 to 10, and that's it. And people are like, this is the best place ever. And I'm like, honestly, you're not even what? Honestly,
though, the average size of, like, a male and female person in America isn't going to be, like, your most fashionable clothing. Like, what you're talking about.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is like, okay, like I've had a lot of people tell me, they're like, oh, you should shop from this website. And then I go on the website and they literally sell up to like a size 8. And there's so many websites. And the thing is if people start a small business, I completely understand because it's hard. You can't, like, let's say you go to you can't have like 700 sizes. But when you're a $5 trillion company, or not, I mean that's exaggerated. If you're like if you're like a, and they do have inclusive sizing, but if you're like Princess Polly, like they started having like obviously more curve division and all these things, but if you're this website that's bringing in so much money and you don't include even like I'm on the small end of plus size and they don't even like sell my size. And so for me, I've always like wanted to shop these places, but I can't really shop it because it doesn't fit my body.
That makes sense that you want to start like a clothing line. Because,
exactly.
Like, so you could have just have it.
Because I think I'm very stylish personally. So I personally think I'm very stylish, and I know that there's so many women in the world who like have their fucking cards out. Like they want to spend money on this clothing and they want to be included in these trendy clothing. And a lot of time if a company will make a plus size line, it immediately will look more like modest and more grandma.
Yeah.
So like if you go on a website, right, and you look at their regular clothing, you're like, oh my God, this is so cute, it's so trendy. You go to their plus size section and it's like floral and like very like older and like more modest and like all these things. Yeah. And so it's completely switches the style of the clothing. And I think there's a lot of women in the world who are like, I just want to wear what she's wearing. Like I just want you to make what she's wearing, but for me. Yeah. And there's such an outlet for it, but I also think that a lot of plus size clothing that you can find online is fast fashion, which is obviously everyone knows is a huge issue in our society. Fast fashion is I don't know what that is. Fast fashion. It's like where on Shein, like it's like where someone can walk on the runway, be wearing this dress, and then next day it shows up on Shein for $5. Like, and there's like a kid in China that made it in 2 seconds. Like it's like very not healthy for like the world. Okay. And there's in a lot of third world countries, there's literally children who are working like day in and day out to create these pieces that you're buying for $12 online.
You're right, but that's also the iPhone that you use every single day.
100%. 100%. But what I'm saying is a lot of clothing that you can find online that are in sizes that people can wear, they are very cheaply made and they're not sustainably made and all of these things. And for me, building a brand that's sustainable and also size inclusive is very expensive. Yeah. And so for me personally, it's always been
some more gigs, y'all.
Right? Yeah. So it's been something that I've had on my heart for a long time, but I know that like I have to have the means to obviously fund that. Yeah. So it's something that I've always wanted to do. So we'll see, hopefully later on. But that's why I think it's really important for me to also build on my Instagram and my social media platforms, because that obviously gives me an audience that for one day when I would launch my brand or whatever it is, like I have people supporting me.
Yeah, people supporting for sure.
So yeah, I think I'd be a dope ass brand owner. So
there we go.
We'll see. But
Avery the brand owner coming soon.
Yeah, I have to find a cool name though. I'd probably spend 5 years trying to decide what I'm gonna call it.
Don't say that. Just start.
Just do it. Just do it.
What do you call it? Before we close up, what is your skincare routine?
Oh my God.
And skincare routine. And like your eyebrow maintenance routine.
Okay. My skincare routine. So I personally don't really talk about skincare on my Instagram because I feel like I've never had acne my whole life.
That's wild.
So then people are like, oh, well, you can say that's your skincare routine, but you never had a pimple in your life.
Honestly, that could be because of your diet. It sounds like your diet's pretty good.
I think, yeah, but also my skin, I just like, I don't like, my brother doesn't have acne. I don't have acne. Like we just have naturally good skin. My mom never had acne.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but diet does play a huge part. And also if you're eating foods that you're like allergic to and not knowing, that makes you have acne. Like I know this girl who she had like cystic acne, like really bad. And she did like a food allergy type test. And like literally she was allergic to all these different types of meats, like all these things. She cut it out and she has like perfect skin now. Yeah. Like food can really impact your diet a lot. Water too. Like I drink so much water. Yeah. I tell my roommate all the time, I'm like, how many glasses of water do you drink? She's like, oh, I drink this much today. And I'm like, what? I have to drink water. I drink a lot of water. Okay, so skincare. One, I do drink chlorophyll every day.
What's chlorophyll? What does it do for you?
Chlorophyll is like what's extracted, the green from plants. Okay. But it's like you put it in your water and it's like good for your skin, your hair, your nails. It's good for like, it's kind of like a natural detox. Okay. So I drink that in my water every day because I do struggle with like gut health and things like that. Sure. I don't know, like my body's like very sensitive to a lot of different foods where I'll get like really bloated. Mm-hmm. So I started drinking that, but my skin glows like the sun now because I drink chlorophyll. So try it. It's not for everyone, but I used to get like clogged pores and stuff, and I was like, I don't have acne, so why am I having these clogged pores? But it's because I just stopped buying skincare from like Sephora and like Ulta and like all of those places, and I just started going to an esthetician, and I went for like one facial because I had like an event coming up and I didn't want to have clogged pores.
Facials are game changer, bro.
Yeah, so I don't get facials regularly, but what I started doing is I buy clean skincare from her.
Okay.
So I buy it through her, and I ask her like what she recommends for my skin, and then I make her kind of make me a little regimen. So I just do like a very simple face wash. At night I do more of like a deeper cleanse.
What's that, like exfoliate face wash? Or
no,
just
I do like a mask like 2 days a week, like a clay mask.
Okay.
Just like clean out my pores. But I'll do like more of, I actually use like a drugstore. I don't even know the brand. It's like a drugstore face wash at night that I just use. And it's like more of a deeper clean. So at night I use like a serum. It's like a, I have to drop the name for you. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically just a serum that's like, it gets deep into your pores. It helps like with clogging and stuff like that. It's kind of like, you have to like ease your skin into it. It's not like retinol, but it's like, you could be sensitive to the sun if you use it like during the day so you have to kind of only use it at night at first. So I use that to just kind of like really like clean off my skin. And then I use hyaluronic acid, which is a moisturizing serum. I have one from Osea. It's like a C serum. It's really good. Then I use a gel.
This is why you don't have acne, because you got this whole routine.
Then I use a gel, and then I use a moisturizer.
Okay, this is all at night.
Yeah. So I basically look like a glazed donut when I go to bed.
And nice then you wake up and your face is good.
Yeah, and then in the morning I just use like a gentle cleanser.
Cool.
And then I wear moisturizer.
What about the brows?
That's it. Oh, the brows. I do get my brows waxed.
Okay.
Some people say it's
really?
Yeah, I do. I only get the bottoms
not the
waxed.
Top, right?
No.
Yeah.
I literally say don't you dare touch it.
I feel like you're known for your top.
For my top. Yeah, I'm known for my top. So my brows, I have always, I used to get bullied for having a unibrow.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Used to get bullied for having a unibrow, and now guess what? People book me for my brows. So take that, bitches. So I've always had really thick eyebrows. And so I kind of like, when I was in high school, obviously I was waxing them too much. And then I kind of just let them go, kind of. And then I went and I got like the bottoms trimmed, and I let this top part grow out. And I literally use soap on my eyebrows. That's how I do my eyebrows. So all I do is I wet a soap bar, translucent soap from Amazon, Paris. And I take a spoolie and I do like this.
What's a spoolie?
Like an eyebrow brush.
Oh, okay.
I wet it, and you make like a little paste, okay? And then you basically put it on the spoolie just a little bit, and you brush them up, and they stay like that all night. Ooh. But I do have to tell you, it's not waterproof because it's soap. So but all like gels don't really hold, because if you have thick eyebrows, it's like not sturdy enough.
So if you're working out, it's gonna be not right.
So I was at work, okay, like months ago, and I grabbed a little salsa cup, and the dishwasher didn't take the water out of it. It still had water from the dishwasher.
The splash.
So I grabbed it like this, and it fell on my head. My eyebrows literally fell because it was soap, and the fucking water hit my eyebrows. And the whole night I was like, God, the dishwasher, it made my eyebrows fall. And like one fell more than the other, so one was still kind of stuck up here, but then this one was like completely down. So it's not waterproof.
It's not the one eyebrow.
It's called soap brow. That's like the style of brows that I have.
Soap brow.
Yeah.
That's dope.
But basically, drink water, take care of your skin. I don't know. People who sleep with makeup, I don't understand that. You have to wash your face before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Like,
people do that?
Yes. People fall asleep with makeup, and they're like, why do I have acne? And I'm like, what the heck? You literally just slept with shit on your face.
Yeah. Clogged pores up the ass.
So but drink a lot of water. It really makes your skin glow from within.
Nice. Glow within with Averi, guys. And
Glow
then,
from within with Averi.
Ooh, is that the new name?
Honestly, no. That sounds really chuggy, actually. Glow from within.
Where can everyone find you?
On Instagram at Averi Camille. That's my main platform that I use. I use TikTok, but that's just kind of for shits and gigs.
What's your TikTok?
At Averi Camille.
There you go, guys. All right, I'll put links in the description to find Averi, and if you guys want to book her, or I don't know, you don't do makeup anymore, so if you just want to look at her page, go check it out.
I do a little bit of makeup on my platforms, but only on myself, so we'll see. But
if you want some tips and tricks and all that, and yeah, Miss Averi Camille, everybody.
Thank you, Nate. You're the best.
Bye.
I hope I did okay. I was so fucking